Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters of destiny, I came to talk to you today about 7 life-changing statements that, if you receive them, if you live them, if you speak them, will shift the trajectory of your life. Nobody is going to build your life for you. Nobody is going to chase your purpose for you. Nobody is going to knock on your door every morning and drag you into greatness. That responsibility is yours. Your growth, your mental growth, your emotional development, your spiritual elevation, your financial discipline is not your mama's job, not your pastor's job, not your boss's job. It's yours. We live in a culture that often teaches people to wait for inspiration, to wait for motivation, to wait for a breakthrough moment or a miracle. But the truth is, you don't grow because you're inspired. You grow because you're intentional. You grow because you decided to show up on days when no one was watching. You grow because you made the choice to become a better version of yourself when staying the same would have been easier. That's maturity. That's discipline. That's growth. Growth doesn't just happen because time passes. Growth happens when you invest effort in becoming more. The same way you can't expect a seed to become a tree without watering it, without nurturing it, without exposing it to light. You can't expect your potential to become power without effort. Stop assuming that age equals progress. There are people who have been alive for 50 years but have been stuck in the same emotional state, the same bad habits, the same bitter mindset since they were 20. 5. Time passed, but growth didn't happen. Because growth is not passive. It is active. It is earned. It is fought for. And I came to tell somebody, you've got to fight for your growth. You've got to fight through the distractions that try to numb you. You've got to fight through the laziness that tries to lull you back into comfort. You've got to fight through the fear of failure that tries to convince you to settle. Because everything that God has placed inside you, every gift, every dream, every promise is waiting for you to step up and own your growth. You cannot afford to stay the same. There are people depending on the next version of you. Your children are waiting for a more focused you. Your business is waiting on a more disciplined you. Your marriage is waiting for a more mature you. Your purpose is waiting for a more grounded, emotionally healed, spiritually sharpened version of who you were yesterday. But you can't step into that version by coasting. You've got to commit to grow. Sometimes growth means learning new skills. Sometimes it means unlearning toxic patterns. Sometimes it means surrounding yourself with people who challenge you instead of people who coddle you. Let me tell you something. Everybody who's nice to you isn't helping you, and everybody who challenges you isn't your enemy. Growth requires that you become uncomfortable with average. You've got to reach the point where settling makes you sick, where excuses sound like lies, where mediocrity becomes unbearable. When you truly take responsibility for your growth, you stop blaming. You stop saying, well, if they hadn't hurt me, or if my father had been there, or if the company had promoted me. Listen, yes, people may have hurt you, yes, life may have been unfair, but as long as you keep assigning responsibility for your development to someone else, you give them control over your future. You don't have to ignore your pain, but you cannot be imprisoned by it. Growth is not about being perfect. It's about being committed. You're going to make mistakes along the way. You'll have setbacks. But if you're committed, those setbacks won't break you. They'll build you. You'll learn. You'll adjust. You'll pray harder. You'll study deeper. You'll humble yourself and ask for wisdom. But you will not give up, because when you take ownership of your growth, quitting is not an option. Regression is not an option. You are becoming too much. You have too much on the line. Your destiny is calling, and you don't have time to sit in your comfort zone and watch life pass you by. Don't wait for opportunities. Prepare for them. Don't wait for motivation. Create habits. Don't wait to feel ready. Start now and grow as you go. People ask me, Bishop, how do I know I'm ready? You're ready when you stop looking for signs and start building systems. You're ready when you stop needing applause and start living with accountability. You're ready when you no longer wait to be chosen, but instead you choose yourself. Not out of arrogance, but out of the awareness that God didn't bring you this far just for you to stall at the starting line. So today, I'm challenging you to stand up inside yourself and declare, I'm responsible for my own growth. No more blaming, no more waiting, no more excuses. You've been equipped. You've been empowered. Now it's time to engage. Your future won't come find you. You've got to go meet it. Step by step, habit by habit, prayer by prayer, and every time you choose growth over comfort, you get closer to the person you were created to become. Growth is a decision, and today, right now, you get to make it. There comes a point in your life where you have to decide that your past no longer has the authority to hold you hostage. You've cried over it long enough. You've lost sleep over it long enough. You've rehearsed what they did to you, what you did to yourself, what went wrong, and how much it hurt long enough. If you're going to grow, if you're going to heal, if you're going to rise into the next dimension of your calling, you must refuse to be a prisoner of your past. What happened to you was real. The betrayal was real. The loss was real. The disappointment was real. And yes, the damage may have even shaped the way you see the world. But hear me when I say this. It does not have to define who you become. God is not finished with you. What happened is not where the story ends. Just because your past shaped your pain doesn't mean it gets to shape your purpose. You've got to make up your mind that you are more than the memory that wounded you. And this is not about denial. This is not about pretending you weren't broken. It's about reclaiming your power. Because every time you replay the rejection, every time you dwell in shame, every time you relive the failure, you're keeping yourself chained to a moment that cannot be changed. Your past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. You visit it to learn from it, not to live in it. Some of us have become so comfortable in the prison of our past that we've decorated the cell. We've settled in, we've normalized dysfunction. We tell ourselves, this is just the way I am. But what you're really saying is, this is who I became when I stopped believing in my healing. You have to break out of that mindset. God didn't create you to be a prisoner to pain. He created you to be a testimony of transformation. The chains of your past are not external. They are internal. They're in your thoughts. They're in your language. They're in your low expectations. They're in your silence, your fear of starting again, your inability to trust, your refusal to hope. But today, I want you to know that freedom is not a fantasy. It's a decision. You don't have to wait for everything to be perfect to walk in freedom. You walk in freedom when you decide that your history will no longer control your identity. Let me teach you something. Your past is a teacher, not a master. You take the lesson, but you leave the shame. You extract the wisdom, but you discard the weight. Because carrying guilt, regret, and bitterness into your future is like dragging dead weight through a marathon. No wonder you're tired. No wonder you're stuck. You're trying to run into destiny while holding on to corpses that should have been buried years ago. It's time to forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. It's time to release, not because it didn't matter, but because it no longer gets to matter more than your future. It's time to give yourself permission to move on. You've been marked by grace. You've been anointed for more. And what's in front of you is greater than what's behind you, if you'll just stop looking back. Some of you are waiting for closure from people who were never capable of giving it. Stop trying to get peace from the place that caused your pain. Stop trying to fix a chapter that's already been written. Close the book, turn the page, and let the next chapter be written in faith, not fear. You have to understand that God is not consulting your past to design your future. He already knew what you would go through. He already knew the divorce would happen. He already knew the business would fail. He already knew the addiction, the mistake, the detour, and yet he still called you. He still chose you. He still put greatness inside of you, because your mistake is not greater than his mercy. Your failure is not bigger than his favor. Your past is not powerful enough to cancel your purpose. But you have to walk it out. You have to silence the voices in your head that say, you'll never be free. You'll always be broken. You're not worthy of a new start. Those are lies, and you've believed them long enough. Now it's time to believe truth. The truth that says you are a new creation. The truth that says all things are being made new. The truth that says you were born to rise, not to rot in regret. So make the declaration over your life today. I refuse to be a prisoner of my past. I refuse to bow down to shame. I refuse to replay what broke me. I am walking in healing. I am walking in purpose. I am walking in power, because I serve a God who restores, a God who redeems, a God who rewrites broken stories into beautiful testimonies. And no matter what happened before, your best days are still ahead, not because of who you were, but because of who you're becoming. Everything worth having will cost you something. There is no breakthrough without pressure. There is no transformation without tension. There is no purpose fulfilled without pain endured. And I need you to understand something that will challenge you to your core. Discomfort is not your enemy. It is your invitation. It is the knock at the door of your destiny saying, are you ready to grow? We live in a culture that avoids discomfort at all costs. We seek ease, convenience, and quick results. We want promotion without preparation, power without process, and glory without grinding. But anything of eternal value is birthed in discomfort. The seed has to break through dirt. The baby has to push through the birth canal. The diamond is formed under pressure, and your next level is locked behind your willingness to endure what doesn't feel good, but works for your good. Don't run from the hard places. Don't retreat when the fire gets hot. That furnace you're standing in might be the very environment where God is refining you. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also productive. Because discomfort reveals things comfort hides. It shows you who you are. It reveals the areas you need to grow. It strips away excuses. It sharpens your focus. It teaches you how to depend on God, not just in theory, but in practice. See, you can't claim to have faith if you've never been put in a situation that forces you to trust. You can't preach perseverance if you've never had to push through pain. You can't speak on strength if you've never stood in storms. That's why discomfort is not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's often the evidence you're doing something right. You're stretching, you're pressing, you're evolving, and with every stretch, God is increasing your capacity to carry what you prayed for. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. Comfort is where potential goes to die. It's where dreams are buried under the weight of procrastination. It's where people talk about what they could have done instead of doing what they were called to do. If you're too comfortable, you're too contained. If you're never challenged, you're never changed. And if you're always running from the uncomfortable, you're also running from the uncommon greatness inside of you. There's something divine in discomfort. Jesus himself didn't skip discomfort. The cross was uncomfortable. The betrayal was uncomfortable. The Garden of Gethsemane, where he sweat drops of blood, was a place of extreme pressure and sorrow. But it was also a place of purpose, a place of obedience, a place where divine destiny collided with human pain and produced salvation for the world. So when you feel the weight pressing down on you, when the doors aren't opening, when the pressure intensifies, and you feel like everything is working against you, don't panic. Lean in to what God is doing in you through the discomfort. Because that's the place where your faith matures. That's the place where your prayers deepen. That's the place where your flesh dies and your spirit rises. That's the place where you're no longer relying on your strength, but leaning fully on His. Discomfort teaches discipline. It forces you to get serious about what you say you want. Anybody can talk about greatness, but only those who are willing to endure the grind will walk in it. Because destiny does not respond to feelings, it responds to faithfulness. You show God you're ready for more when you remain steadfast, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's exhausting, even when it's painful. You don't get to your next level by praying for it alone. You get there by showing up when it hurts, by trusting God when it doesn't make sense, by sacrificing when no one is watching, by enduring criticism, rejection, and delay, and still not giving up. Discomfort is how you earn the authority to speak with conviction. It is the fire that burns off pride, fear, and insecurity, and leaves behind a vessel that is pure, sharp, and useful in the hands of God. So stop waiting for it to feel easy. Stop looking for the perfect time. Stop measuring your readiness by your comfort level, because what you're feeling right now, the resistance, the pressure, the stretching, is not a sign of failure, it's a sign of favor. You are being developed. You are being trained. You are being elevated, and God does his best work in the dark, in the press, in the discomfort. Let this settle in your spirit. If it's stretching you, it's growing you. If it's testing you, it's teaching you. And if it's uncomfortable, it might just be the confirmation that you're in the right place. Because destiny is not found on the path of least resistance. It's discovered in the valley of courage, through the narrow gate of discipline, and on the rugged road of obedience. You are not called to comfort. You are called to conquer, and the more uncomfortable the process, the more undeniable the purpose. So stop praying for ease. Start praying for endurance, because discomfort isn't your enemy. It's your doorway. And when you walk through it, you will find that what God has for you is greater than anything you left behind. Destiny doesn't respond to your desire alone. It doesn't move because of your dreams, your prayers, or your potential. Destiny responds to discipline. You can have the anointing, the gift, the talent, and even the opportunity. But if you lack discipline, you will waste what God gave you. Some doors don't stay open forever. Some moments don't come around twice. And if you're not disciplined enough to prepare, to focus, to manage your time, your habits, and your emotions, you'll forfeit your future chasing feelings instead of fulfilling your calling. Discipline is not just about willpower. It's about alignment. It's about saying, I may not feel like it today, but my assignment is bigger than my emotions. You will never walk in divine purpose if you only move when you feel like it. Feelings are fleeting. Emotions shift with the wind. But destiny is built on consistency, on doing what needs to be done even when no one is watching, even when you're tired, even when you're discouraged, even when you're surrounded by people who don't understand what you're building. You can't build a legacy on hype. You can't raise a godly family, lead a business, impact a generation, or carry a mantle from heaven without discipline. That's why so many talented people are stuck. They've got the idea, the charisma, the connections, but they lack the internal structure to sustain greatness. It's not that they weren't chosen. It's that they weren't consistent. It's not that God didn't call them. It's that they couldn't stay focused long enough to walk it out. Discipline demands you master your moments before they master you. It demands you silence the noise. Not every invitation is for you. Not every opportunity is God sent. When you're disciplined, you learn how to say no to the distractions so you can say yes to the divine. You stop being addicted to urgency and start being committed to purpose. You stop letting your phone dictate your schedule, your cravings dictate your diet, and your emotions dictate your decisions. Because when destiny is on the line, comfort is not an option. God will never give you something he knows you don't have the character to handle. That's why before he takes you to the next level, he disciplines you at this one. He'll let the door stay shut until you're strong enough not to ruin the room, because open doors without discipline can destroy you. You'll walk into opportunities unprepared. You'll mishandle relationships. You'll mismanage blessings. You'll pray for elevation, but collapse under the weight of the assignment because you never trained in the shadows. Discipline is the training ground of destiny, and training doesn't feel good. Ask the athlete who has to get up at 5 a.m. to run drills while the world sleeps, Ask the student who studies when their friends are out partying. Ask the entrepreneur who keeps reinvesting when the money looks tight. That's discipline. It's when you do what's necessary instead of what's easy. It's when you prioritize purpose over pleasure. Not because you hate joy, but because you've got a vision that requires sacrifice. You will never have dominion over what you're not disciplined in. If you can't master your mind will master you. If you can't manage your time will be wasted. If you can't control your mouth, your words will sabotage your favor. And if you don't govern your thoughts will govern your outcome. Discipline is how you tell your flesh, you're not running this. My spirit is in charge. My destiny is too important to play with. My calling is too weighty to neglect. Some of the greatest people never walked into purpose, not because of the enemy, but because they couldn't stay focused. One bad decision can cost you years. One undisciplined moment can shut a door that took decades to open. That's why you must guard your time, protect your energy, and structure your life around what matters most. Your calendar should reflect your calling. Your habits should reflect your hunger. Your lifestyle should reflect your level of commitment to what God has called you to do. Discipline is how you tell heaven, I'm serious. It's how you tell the enemy, I won't be moved. It's how you tell your future, I'm coming for you. And make no mistake, God rewards the disciplined. Not just the gifted, not just the anointed, not just the loud, but those who can keep showing up. Those who can keep building even when no one sees. Those who can keep pressing even when the progress feels slow. Destiny doesn't happen overnight. It happens in the details, in the grind, in the daily decision to keep going when everything in you wants to quit. So if you want to walk in purpose, you've got to live with discipline. You've got to rise above excuses. You've got to organize your world around your assignment. And you've got to remember that discipline is not punishment. It's preparation. It's not restriction. It's refinement. You're not losing fun. You're gaining focus. You're not giving up freedom. You're gaining fire. And with every act of discipline, you're getting closer to the version of yourself that God had in mind when He called you in the first place. Destiny demands discipline not just once, but daily. Not just in public, but in private. Not just when it's easy, but when it's excruciating. And when you live that way, when you stay ready, stay rooted, and stay focused, there is no door the enemy can shut, and no limit to what God can do through you. Sometimes the greatest power you will ever demonstrate in your life is not in what you say, but in what you choose not to say. Silence is not weakness. It is not surrender. It is not passivity. Silence, when used with wisdom, is a weapon. It is a strategy. It is the language of self-control, the response of maturity, and the shield of discernment. There are battles you win not by raising your voice, but by keeping your peace. There is a time to speak, yes, a time to declare truth, to stand in boldness, to confront injustice. But there is also a time to say nothing, a time to close your mouth and let your fruit speak for you, a time to resist the urge to explain yourself to people who have already made up their minds, a time to walk away from conversations that drain your energy and derail your focus. And I need you to understand this today. Just because someone provokes you doesn't mean you have to respond. Not every insult deserves an answer. Not every argument requires your involvement. You don't owe everyone access to your voice. Your voice is sacred. Your words are powerful. They build worlds and set directions. And if you keep giving your voice to every critic, every gossiper, every petty conversation, you'll exhaust yourself defending what God already confirmed. You'll waste energy trying to validate yourself to people who didn't believe in you to begin with. You'll be so busy reacting that you'll forget to build, and purpose is never birthed in reaction. It's birthed in focus. There is a strength in stillness. There is power in knowing when to hold your peace. Jesus himself modeled this. When he stood before Pilate, falsely accused, misunderstood, attacked, he didn't argue. He didn't justify. He didn't fight back with words. He stood in silence because he understood that destiny doesn't require defense. The truth doesn't always need to be shouted. Sometimes it just needs to be lived. You don't have to clap back to prove you're strong. You don't have to post everything you're thinking. You don't have to explain every move you make. If God gave you the vision, if He's the one guiding your steps, then trust Him enough to fight your battles in the background. Because silence is not the absence of power, it's the management of it. It's the ability to say, I could respond, I could fight back, I could argue, but I'm going to preserve my peace because I know where I'm going. Some people want you to get loud because it lowers you to their level. They don't understand strategic silence because they're addicted to chaos. They thrive off drama. They crave attention. And when you choose silence, you disarm their control. You show them that your mind is no longer their playground, that your emotions are under new management, that your spirit has outgrown the need to be seen, heard, or validated by noise. Silence is also a space where God speaks. You can't hear divine direction when you're drowning in distraction. Sometimes the reason you're confused isn't because God is silent. It's because you're too surrounded by clutter to hear Him. You're taking advice from too many people. You're responding to too many messages. You're caught in too many arguments, and in the middle of all that noise, you've lost the clarity of purpose. That's why the wisest thing you can do in some seasons is get quiet. Turn down the volume of the world so you can tune in to the voice of God. And let me tell you, your silence will confuse your enemies. They expect you to lash out. They expect you to defend yourself. But when you respond with calm, when you move with confidence, when you keep building in silence and let your results do the talking, you shift the atmosphere. People start watching you differently, not because you made a scene, but because you didn't. Even in leadership, silence is a form of strength. The loudest person in the room isn't always the one in charge. Sometimes the most powerful person is the one who speaks last, the one who listens before they speak, the one who evaluates before they respond. Because they understand that premature words can sabotage long-term vision. They know that not everything that's felt must be spoken, and not every reaction deserves a response. There are blessings that are built in silence. There are battles that are won in silence. There are transitions that must be walked out in silence. You don't have to announce everything God is doing in your life. Some things are sacred. Some things are still under construction. And if you expose them too soon, you allow the wrong voices to pollute what God is producing. So silence is not just a strategy for avoiding drama. It's a strategy for preserving destiny. It's what you use when you understand that peace is more powerful than pride. It's how you guard your future from being stolen by unnecessary conflict. It's how you keep your mind sharp, your heart clean, and your path clear. The next time you're tempted to prove something, to fight back, to set the record straight, pause, breathe, ask yourself, is this battle worth my destiny? Is this conversation worth my peace? And if it's not, let your silence be your strategy, because sometimes the greatest sound you can make is none at all. My brothers and sisters, if you've heard nothing else today, hear this. Your life will never rise above the level of the truth you are willing to embrace and the actions you are disciplined enough to take. These 7 life-changing statements are not motivational fluff. They are foundational pillars. They are divine truths wrapped in practical wisdom. They are mirrors to your soul and maps to your destiny. You were not born just to exist. You were born to evolve. You were not called just to survive. You were called to soar. But it takes more than inspiration to get there. It takes transformation. It takes a heart that's hungry, a mind that's renewed, and a spirit that's ready to rise above fear, failure, and the familiar. You must take responsibility for your growth. No one is coming to rescue you. No one can do the work for you. But if you dare to own your development, to chase your purpose, to steward your time and gifts wisely, there is nothing the enemy can do to stop the momentum God is placing in your life. You must refuse to be a prisoner of your past. It happened, yes, but it's over. You've carried it long enough. God is not trying to perfect your past. He's trying to position your future. Let it go. Release it. Walk out of the prison of regret and into the palace of restoration. You must understand that discomfort is not your enemy. It's your trainer. It is pressure that prepares you. It is pain that purifies you. It is hardship that makes you holy. If you can learn to walk through discomfort without quitting, you will reach places you never thought were possible. You must embrace the fact that destiny will demand discipline. Discipline when no one is watching, discipline when it's not popular, discipline when it hurts, because God doesn't reward hype. He rewards habits, and if you can master your mind, your mood, and your movement, nothing will be able to hold back what He has ordained for you. You must learn to let silence speak for you. Stop wasting your voice on battles that don't matter. Let the fruit of your life answer your critics. Let your peace silence the noise. Learn to move in quiet confidence, knowing that God fights for those who stay focused on purpose. You must remind yourself daily, you become what you believe. Speak life, speak faith, speak destiny. Don't echo the doubt of others. Declare the truth God spoke over you even when your circumstances contradict it. And lastly, walk boldly knowing that delay is not denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. God's timing is perfect. He's preparing the promise and preparing you. Keep praying. Keep planting. Keep preparing, because what's ahead of you is far greater than what's behind you. So I charge you today, take these 7 statements and don't just repeat them. Live them. Make them your daily confession. Teach them to your children. Build them into your decisions. Write them on your walls and hide them in your heart. Because when you live by these truths, you don't just change your life. You change your legacy. You shift your atmosphere. You walk in divine alignment, and you begin to live not by chance, but by calling. This is your time. This is your season. The door is open. The call is clear. The responsibility is yours. Walk in it. Rise in it. Speak it. Believe it. Live it. And watch how God takes your obedience and turns it into overflow.